welcome to this episode of Class is in Session. I'm your host, Ashley Stevens, and this show on Black Enterprise highlights the latest happenings inside HBCU classrooms, public policy issues facing these historic institutions, and we also highlight alums, students, and administrators who are on the move at these historic institutions. I'm excited today for our featured guest. Dr. Yolanda W. Page is an accomplished higher education leader who promotes the support of first-generation college students like herself, an alumna of HBCU Dillard University, where she spent many years of her professional career. She received the Council of Independent Colleges Chief Academic Officer Award, and Diverse Issues in Higher Education recognized her as one of 25 outstanding women in higher education. Dr. Page is beginning her second year as the 8th president of Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hello and welcome, Dr. Page.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely delighted to have you. You know, we are always so excited, especially to highlight Black women who are in these incredible leadership positions at an HBCU. And you are starting your second year at Stillman. So, how are things going so far?
Things are going just fine at Stillman College. I just completed a wonderful year of listening and learning the people of Stillman as well as the people of Tuscaloosa and Alabama. So we are doing some exciting things now at Stillman College, and we're going to just continue to move the college forward into our next 150 years.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Now, listen, for those who may not be familiar with Stillman, tell us a little bit about your college.
So, Stillman College is located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We were founded in 1876 by Reverend Dr. Charles Allen Stillman, who was a Presbyterian minister at one of the Presbyterian churches located in Tuscaloosa. And he had the vision of providing access to the Presbyterian ministry to African American men.
Mm.
And so he took a group of citizens who shared that vision with him to Savannah in 1874. And then in the fall of 1876, Tuscaloosa Institute, which is our predecessor, served or opened its doors to its first group of students. And then in the early 1900s, we became co-head. An interesting thing about Stillman College is that for many years, Stillman College was the place of education for African Americans in West Alabama.
Hmm.
We also were the space where Vivian Malone Jones stayed when she prepared to integrate the University of Alabama.
Wow.
So Stillman College is rich in history as it relates to the civil rights movement in Tuscaloosa and in Alabama. Now, we continue to focus on our mission of providing a traditional liberal arts education to students. The majority of our students do hail from West Alabama, the Black Belt areas in particular. We tend to serve also a large number of transfer students, students who find that the smallness of Stillman College is the environment that they need in order to survive and thrive in as they earn their undergraduate degree.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That's really interesting to hear about the history of the college and kind of how you're still transitioning even today to best serve students. Let's go all the way back to before you were ever even an HBCU leader, just to your upbringing. Tell us about where you're from and also the value that your family placed on education and particularly higher education.
Sure, I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is located in Northwest Louisiana. Like many of the students that Stillman College and a lot of our HBCU serves, I was, or I guess I can say I still am, a first generation college student who was Pell eligible. Neither of my parents attended college, but they always instilled in my brothers, my sister, and me the value of going beyond high school and getting a college degree. As a young lady, I was exposed to Upward Bound. And of course, people who are familiar with Upward Bound know that Upward Bound is a program that focuses on transitioning high school students into college. And so I really took advantage of that Upward Bound experience. I had a lot of teachers and mentors who also, along with my parents, encouraged me to attend college. And so when I was a senior in high school, I had a lot of options because I was always, I would describe as a good student. um, and so after thinking about colleges that I thought would be a good fit for me, I decided to attend Dillard University. I had a high school teacher, a biology, she was a biology teacher in fact, who had attended Dillard herself. And she spoke so fondly about Dillard University, the education that she received there, the lifelong friendships, the mentoring. And after visiting the school, I knew that that was the place for me as well.
Fantastic that you saw a teacher. You had a role model who talked so highly about their HBCU that influenced and impacted you to also attend Dillard. Now, when you went to Dillard, you came back. You were not just a student, but you spent much of your professional career there as well, correct?
Yes, I did. I spent, once I finished my master's and my doctorate studies at Louisiana State University, and it was time for me to start my career. Then I started my career at Dillard University as a faculty member, as an instructor, as a matter of fact, because when I assumed that role, I was ABD. I was wrapping up my dissertation. And so I like to say to people that I have served from a faculty perspective, I have served in every faculty rank from instructor to full professor. And I think that that has benefited me in that I can identify with the faculty needs, I can identify with faculty successes, and that I think has allowed me to be able to create avenues and pathways that allow faculty to be able to progress in their careers. Um, Maybe about 5 or so years into my career on the faculty side, I transitioned over into administration. And that was because one of my supervisors, as she stated, she saw uh, characteristics of an administrator in me. She said that she felt that I had some very strong, well, now they're referred to as power skills, but back in the day, we referred to them as soft skills, where I
Hmm.
was able to bring people together. I had great organizational skills, and she offered me an opportunity to lead the English department. And not want to ever turn down a challenge, I accepted it. And then I rose through the ranks of administration to where I am currently today, serving as the eighth president of Stillman College. So it has been quite an exciting way for me to progress through my career.
I think what's exciting about what you shared is not only, like you said, you've worked from every range of from instructor all the way up to full professor. Now college president, right? You've been a part of the whole gamut of leadership, but it is noteworthy that a woman identified the leader in you and called it out and wanted to tap into that potential to raise you up. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of having women, a support group of other women, either peers or mentors who uplift you in this space. Tell me about the importance of that, especially now as an HBCU president.
You're absolutely correct. Women have always been a very important aspect of my life. I think even when I think about my own mother, who, as I said earlier, although she only had a high school education, she always supported my sister and me and my brothers as it relates to uh, progressing and continuing our education. But one of the things that she instilled in my sister and me in particular was that as women, education was key to us being able to craft our own way. And as she put it, not having to be wholly dependent upon a man or our husband. And I think that that's very important for all of us that We understand our value and know that if we don't get married or may not have as successful a career that we envision for ourselves, that we can continue to do great things. Having a fence or a village of women supporters has been very important to me also as a professional, because in all honesty, there are just some things as women that we experience that men don't tend to experience. So quite often we really uh, have to think about how we project ourselves, how we are received, how we are perceived, because men, when they go into a room, they don't necessarily have to be conscious about what they're wearing. But women, we have to be conscious about what we're wearing. Then we also have to think about, from a personal or an individual perspective, relationships with our families. If we have a husband or a partner, how does our work schedule impact them? We also have to think about our children. There's a lot. So having a strong sister circle to support us is very important from a professional perspective as well as from a personal perspective. Because I think the balls that we are expected to juggle are can be many more than sometimes men are expected to juggle. Because we're expected to balance the boardroom as well as the home.
Mm. That's a very interesting perspective. Very interesting perspective. And I'm also glad that you shared that, for women, no matter where they are in their personal lives, if they have a professional trajectory, that greatness is still required. And, you can still continue to excel and succeed, even if life does not look like how you may have envisioned it to. So I appreciate you sharing that. And also that you have a support, that village of women, I think is a really big deal. So I'm glad you shared some of those perspectives of the differences in leadership between sometimes how men in leadership are perceived with women. With women, I think that's really important. What do you think have been some of the wins that you have experienced in terms of being a woman in leadership?
Well, I think that some of the wins that I've been able to count as wins is the fact that I have been, in many ways, able to navigate what has traditionally been a male profession and a white profession. When
Hmm.
you think about higher education, although in today's headlines, you're seeing many women who are being selected as presidents of colleges and universities, we still are far and few in between. And so I think that there's still a lot of work to be done there. And one of the things that I have particularly been interested in is mentoring young women who indicate to me that they're interested in higher education administration, no matter what that looks like, whether or not that dream is ultimately to be a president, or whether it's to be a vice president, or maybe to be a dean or a director. I think that that's very important. I think some of the other wins have been, I think, as I mentioned earlier, being able to successfully balance family and professional life. And then also some of the things that I've been able to do for the institutions that I've served. Groundbreaking things such as creating new programs, being able to um, help faculty and staff establish a balance between work life and professional life. Those things are very important to me. Since I've been at Stillman, we've been able to do some successful things as well. One of the things that we've been able to do through the lens of my desire to really continue to connect Stillman with the community is partnering with some of the state agencies, the Alabama Department of Labor, for example, to host a job fair here on Stillman's campus for the citizens of West Tuscaloosa. It was the very first time that that job fair had been hosted in West Tuscaloosa. So things of that nature. Also partnering with the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference to bring its men and women's basketball tournament to Stillman College and to Tuscaloosa. First time that an HBCU basketball tournament had come to Tuscaloosa. So doing things like that, I think that that's very important as I continue to move through my tenure as Stillman College's president to make sure that Stillman continues to be connected or solidified to the community, because one of the distinctions about Stillman is that we are the only 4-year HBCU in West Alabama. And because of that distinction, I think that it is incumbent upon us to really demonstrate that we are partnering with that region of the state as well as West Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
A lot of exciting initiatives, it sounds like, that you have with the community. What other partnerships does Stillman College have with the community?
Well, one exciting partnership that I'd like to mention is the fact that just last month, we partnered with the United Way of West Alabama, Brown Memorial Presbyterian Church, to host a Jumpstart program at Brown Memorial Presbyterian Church. That is exciting because it's the first time that a Jumpstart program has been offered in West Tuscaloosa. And and that program ties in with an aspect of my vision for Stillman College, in that we will provide
Mm.
opportunities from cradle to career. So Cradle, Jumpstart definitely representing that, in that the Jumpstart program, which is a national program, provides an opportunity of preparing students who've had little or no pre-K experience for kindergarten. So, and then, so I had an opportunity to go visit those children, and I had a wonderful time listening to them about their hopes and their dreams as they prepare for kindergarten, what they want to do when they grow up. And then they enticed me to read them a
Mhm.
story, Jump Frog Jump. And so it was exciting to read that story to them. And then at the end, to jump with them like the frog in the story.
That is a really big deal. That's a really big deal. And I think what was also exciting, you mentioned about the job fair. And when you first mentioned it, I thought it was going to be for students, but really it was open to the community. And I
It was
think that's a
open to the
big deal.
community, yes.
Yeah, that your college is used as a hub for as an economic engine, right, for the entire West Tuscaloosa community. I think that's a really big deal. That you're educating students, but also empowering those in the community to have employment, gainful employment at that.
Yes, yes, and that's what it's about. It's about community empowerment. Because one of the other things that we have occurring here at Stillman College is our cybersecurity DEI clinic. And so
Okay.
that cybersecurity DEI clinic, which is graciously funded by Google, allows us to not only train our students in cybersecurity so that when they graduate from Stillman, they're ready for cybersecurity jobs, but it also allows our students to be able to partner with local business owners to teach them how to avoid a possible cyber attack or a ransomware attack.
Interesting. Now, how did this initiative and focus on cybersecurity and IT come about, and what partners do you have in this work?
So it came about in 2017 when Stillman College itself had to respond to a cyber attack. And the college, our operations were crippled for a year because of that. Everything, yes, for an entire year because of that cyber attack. As a matter of fact, when you take a look at research, research indicates that colleges tend to uh, are impacted probably by $9 billion a year because of ransomware attacks. And so Stillman experienced a ransomware attack. We basically had to rebuild everything from ground zero. And my predecessor, she spoke about Stillman's experience. And because of her vocal talks about the experience, then we were led to the fact that Google supports these cybersecurity DEI clinics, and we thought that it would be a good way for us to be able to basically pass it on and help others. And so, since last fall, that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been teaching our students how to become experts of sorts in this area, and also working with the community. Um, what we plan to do is to expand the work, because right now we are the first we were at the time the first HBCU to lead this initiative. And so
Mhm.
now what we're doing is we're training other HBCUs to become a part of that initiative. So it's a very exciting program, a very exciting initiative, and we are very happy that Stillman College is one of the leaders of this initiative.
That is definitely worth celebrating indeed, and that more HBCUs are coming on board. And the fact that the ransomware attack sounds, tragic, right? A year's worth of time, and energy and effort lost that you had to rebuild. But it's interesting that you took that problem and you propelled it into a purpose that students can now literally explore how to solve this challenge as a part of their professional career field. That's a big deal.
Yes, that's very important. We as institutions have to make sure that we are providing students with real time access to skills that will allow them to be able to navigate the job or the workforce. And that's
Mhm.
an aspect of what we're doing at Stillman. So not only is it about cybersecurity, but we're also considering other certifications that allow us to be able to assure that students have when they come to Stillman College, they have every opportunity to be successful.
Love that. Love that. Love to hear it. Dr. Page, you've done so much over your career at Dillard. You oversaw the development of the university's first online degree program, a nationally recognized pre law program, and Dillard's Center for Racial Justice, and also secured roughly $40 million in funding to support curriculum redesign and faculty professional development. And as you've also just shared, obviously you've got partnerships with Google to support, cybersecurity efforts at your current college at Stillman. Of all the things that you have done, what are you most proud of at this juncture in your career?
I am most proud of being able to say at all of the institutions where I've served, I made a difference. And
Mhm.
I think that difference can be measured not just in money or the value of grants, but I think in the value of the relationships and the people who say that they were inspired to progress in their careers, seeing those who, as I refer to it, were able to leave the nest and now have their own careers where they're doing the same thing for others. So I think that that is probably what, when I retire, I'm going to take away from this entire experience. How I've been able to inspire other people to succeed, to progress, to excel, and then how I have made the place better in some way.
You have absolutely done that. We're here talking with Dr. Yolanda Page, the eighth president of Stillman College. And Dr. Page, you also focus a lot on working with high risk and first generation college students. Tell us why that is important to you.
Well, that's important because, as I said, that was me. If someone had not taken an interest in me, this other than my family, then I probably would not be sitting here today. I could have been doing some other things. So I think that that's important. I think that we all have to take into consideration that where a person comes from doesn't necessarily mean that that is where they will be. We have to wrap our arms around individuals, particularly our students, and then provide them with the resources. And sometimes it's just the words to let them know that they can be successful. That was one of the things that I would say attracted me to Stillman College, in that when I visited this campus, I heard from the students that, and since I've been here, the alumni, that Stillman changed their life.
Mm.
Coming to Stillman changed their lives. And I think that that is what education is about generally. But I think in particular at HBCUs, at like Stillman, that is what we do. We're changing lives. We're not just changing individual lives, but we're changing the lives of generations. We are launching students into the orbit of who they were ordained to be. But only though, however, if somebody just believed in them. And so
Mm.
that's why it's important for us to continue to provide our students with those wraparound services, to educate our students, all aspects of who they are socially, who they are spiritually, who they are academically, even health wise. I think one of the major challenges that a lot of our institutions are facing today is, how do we help our students navigate mental health? And that is what we're going to also start focusing on at Stillman College. I'm not going to necessarily place all of the blame on COVID, but I know one of the things that I've seen as a leader post COVID is that we see a lot of students, and I think faculty and staff as well, who are requiring assistance in navigating mental health issues.
Hmm.
And so that's becoming very important to us as well.
That's interesting that it is important, because it is a big deal. There you're right. There still are ramifications of COVID from particularly college students who their high school years or their early college years were interrupted. And faculty as well. It shifted everything about how we live, work, play, socialize. So I'm glad to hear that that will be a focus as well. And not only that, but your passion to help first generation college students who, like yourself, but now you're in a place where you have become a role model to others. I understand you have some family that have now decided to attend HBCUs. Is that correct?
So yes, so my sister is an HBCU graduate as well. She graduated from Dillard University, like me,
Awesome.
and my son William is currently, well, he's a rising senior at Morehouse College. So that was very important to my husband. Although he is not an HBCU graduate, he is an avid HBCU supporter, and so that was very important to us that our children attend an HBCU. So we also have a daughter. She's not quite ready for college, but you can rest assured that when she's there, we will be advocating for her to attend an HBCU as well.
I love to hear that. Dr. Page, tell us, why is the value of an HBCU, particularly in today's world, so important to you and to your family?
Well, there are a myriad of things, but I think that the true value of an HBCU is that an HBCU allows students to live and learn and not necessarily be worried about those things that might impact them because of the way they look. You have at an HBC, you have a lot of freedom in regards to how you look, how you want to project your race. You have a lot of freedom to read what you want to and share that. I think particularly in this day and age where diversity, equity, and inclusion is being attacked, you don't have to worry about that at an HBCU. I'll share with you that one of the things that warmed my heart after my son's first year at his HBCU, he said, "Mom, for the first time, I feel like I'm really learning about who I am." And I think that's the essence of HBCUs. Students get to really be in tune with who they are. They don't have to be afraid of who they are. They don't have to shirk in the shadows and wonder if I wear a particular shirt, wear my hair in a particular way, what are people going to think about me?
That's a powerful statement, especially that your son shared. He really gets to discover who he is at an HBCU. That is powerful indeed, and kudos to you for continuing to uplift the mantle for HBCUs and their value in leadership and beyond, even in the home. Right, encouraging your children to attend HBCU. So, Dr. Page, it's been a treat speaking with you as we wrap up. For our audience, what are your daily words to live by? What motivates you each day, especially now as an HBCU president at Stillman College?
It's simple. Everything that I do is grounded in my faith, um, and it comes from the Bible. There's a scripture, I think it's Colossians 3 and 23, which simply says that whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. And that's what I do every day, whether it's personally or professionally. I work at things with all my heart. And I think that that has been apparent for the last 30 years of my career, and it certainly has been apparent for the last years of my life.
Yes, yes, and work with everything with all your heart. Awesome, awesome. Well,
Work
listen,
with
Dr.
everything with all
Page,
your heart.
with all your heart. Well, listen, continue to give all you have. And I know that you are as you enter your second year at Stillman College. We'll be excited to stay posted for things that are on the horizon there happening at Stillman. And for those who are watching, be sure to share this episode with family and friends as well. Dr. Page, thank you for being here on this episode of Classes in Session.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely excited to have you. And again, be sure to share this episode. Stay posted also for the latest and greatest on Black Enterprise's social media channels and our website at blackenterprise.com. For this episode of Class is in Session, I'm your host, Ashley Stevens, and class is dismissed.